The Jogan has been living in our heads rent-free for the past 6 years now, but finally we are getting a glimpse of hope that Boruto has finally unlocked the Pure Eye. However, the abilities of this dojutsu are unclear, but trust me, the power this eye holds is even more broken than you thought. 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 1 reintroduced Boruto with his infamous entrance. However, what you may not have realised was this scene isn't just showcasing that Code is a fraud, but instead it's actually a hint that the Jogan has finally arrived. So back in the Noe arc, when Boruto was shown to activate the Jogan, we saw one of its abilities. In this example where Boruto appeared above Code, it seemed as though Boruto seemingly knew that Sarada was in trouble. But this isn't the case, and it's just one of the Jogan's abilities. So we know that Code has been hunting Boruto for the last 2 years now, so if Boruto did come across Code and realise he couldn't beat him, he might have just fled to a different dimension. Therefore Code would not be able to track him down. The Jogan has the ability to sense portals and openings, and then open these portals to travel to a different dimension. But what is important is while Boruto is in this dimension, it seems as though he can see and hear people through the barriers of that realm. Subsequently, it would make sense that Boruto was observing what was occurring in the village. And when we saw that Sarada was in trouble, he came out of hiding to stop Code from harming Sarada. Furthermore, let's say that Code had fought Boruto during the time skip, which I've discussed a few times in different videos, but it wouldn't make sense for Code to understand the full scope of Boruto's abilities unless he had fought a version of Boruto with the Jogan. It wasn't referenced to Boruto being miles away and hearing it, but instead that Boruto could hear her through the dimension he was hiding in. Code clearly had no intention of actually killing Sarada and was instead using her to lure Boruto to this location. But Code isn't stupid enough to think that Boruto could sense his presence and randomly show up. Instead, Code likely knew that Boruto would hear him from wherever he was, and that is why he decided to attack the village rather than continue searching for him. But if you thought that ability was crazy, wait until the end of this video, because I'm not only going to explain why the Jogan has the abilities of the Byakugan, but it also has the abilities of the Sharingan and the Rinnegan. So something which is exclusive to the Jogan's abilities would be the ability to sense negative emotions. If this is the case, then it is another viable option for Boruto appearing at the perfect time to help Sarada. We know that Code has a large resentment for Boruto and probably harnesses the most negative emotions in the entire show. Maybe Boruto has seen Code before and therefore recognizes the patterns in his hatred. In Konoha, they have a database of people's chakras, and Boruto could do the same thing where he can identify who someone is and where they are actually located based on their negative energy. This in essence is just a combination of the sensory team and the Byakugan, as it seems as though this ability is able to go through walls. But the reason I mention such a simple sensory technique is it actually hard counters Kawaki and his dojutsu. So if Kawaki was to shrink himself, then Boruto, due to this ability, would still be able to sense where Kawaki had gone. It seems as though the pool of negative emotions doesn't seem to shrink when a person shrinks, and instead the scale of the negative emotions is the size of the area that Boruto can see. So therefore Kawaki's element of surprise as well as escape would be eliminated, as if he was to shrink himself, then Boruto would likely be able to see him wherever he had gone. On top of this, with the ability to see openings to portals, do you guys think he'll be able to see the opening for Kawaki's realm? And if so, would he be able to see Naruto and Hinata in that realm when Kawaki opens the portals? I don't think Boruto would be able to bring Naruto and Hinata back, but instead he's just able to access his realm to try and catch Kawaki when he escapes. But leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, while you're down there, make sure to subscribe, as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. And if every one of you subscribes, then we should be able to make it. And make sure to like this video, as it will only take a second and it should push the video out to more people. But with that all said, let's discuss the Jogan's other abilities. Boruto's whole thing could actually be seeing into the future, and the Jogan most definitely facilitates the ability for this. We know that the Jogan should be able to detect danger, and this should work perfectly when it comes to the battle with Kawaki. This is because Kawaki relies heavily on taking his opponent by surprise with his chakra rods and his chakra cubes. The Jogan is basically a hard counter to every one of Kawaki's dojutsu abilities, and I think that this is the reason that it's so fitting for Boruto to have access to this dojutsu. So those are all the Jogan's unique abilities, but I want to quickly talk about the name Pure Eye. So if something is pure, then in essence it will contain no branches of evil whatsoever. But another interpretation of this would be that due to his eye coming from an otsutsuki god, or at least we presume that this is the case, After the Otsutsuki achieved godhood, they became a pure vessel, which means that the pure eye awakens. There are lots of different dojutsus that the Otsutsuki have access to, so I believe that in combination with some of these, the dojutsu or maybe the Otsutsuki god combined 3 dojutsus in order to create this. But something else to think about is the Jogan seems to have the abilities of the Sharingan on top of everything else. This is because Boruto was able to dodge and counter Momoshiki in his buff state. This is the same Momoshiki who made light work of the 5 Kage and then gave a hard time to Naruto and Sasuke. And this was also the same Boruto that was struggling to even become a Chunin without ninja tech. So this eye might give Boruto some crazy enhanced reaction times in order to achieve this feat. And because Boruto is already at a level of Jougan or even approaching Ishiki, his reaction time should exceed that of even barrier mode. Again, this should mean that Boruto has the ability to dodge Kawaki's chakra rods with ease. Obviously, with this eye pretty blatantly coming from the Byakugan, Boruto should also have a 360-degree field of view, eliminating any threats from behind. I think the reason people downplay the Byakugan so much is because we've only really seen this as a main weapon in people like Neji and Hinata, who aren't extremely formidable opponents. However, this dojutsu should scale with the user's strength, and with Boruto having access to it, he should be buffed significantly. I'm fully aware that all the Otsutsuki have Byakugan, but maybe that's what makes them so strong. But it's not really stated that the Byakugan is the reason that they are able to achieve beyond human feats. Another important thing to point out is that the Jogan is special in the fact that it can locate a user's weak points. This seems to be an ability unique to the Jogan, but I don't know whether it's actually linked to the Byakugan or not. Boruto vs Kawaki and a lot of the modern villains are mainly fighting using taijutsu. And therefore with this ability, Boruto will be able to deal significantly more damage with each punch. Also, Boruto can use his sword to hit weak points, and we know that this is effective as Boruto used a kunai against Nue to defeat him. But now I want to go into the potential of the unshown abilities of the Jogan, which we didn't actually see in Boruto Part 1. So perhaps the Jogan has the ability to turn ninjutsu into a pure or living entity. The reason I say this is because Karma has negated all of the ninjutsu in the entire series. However, if Boruto could make the jutsu he fires off a living entity, it would mean that it could be not absorbed or shrunk by Kawaki. This would allow the use of ninjutsu to be reintroduced into the fights, and I think it's something which is necessary in part 2 of Boruto. In part 1, Kishimoto stated that he needed a way to scale down the fights between Naruto and Sasuke with the villains. He did this so that when the children fight, it doesn't look like all their fights are boring and useless. To do this, we saw that all the villains in the series had a way to negate all the jutsu and flashy techniques. But obviously the lesser opponents couldn't do that, and subsequently the children's fights would look a lot more interesting. However, as everyone has now improved, or should have improved during the time skip, I think it is time to reintroduce jutsu into the fights, as I think that Boruto Part 1 and Naruto Part 1 were similar with the fact that they were more tactical and taijutsu based. But Part 2 of both of the series should be a lot more flashy to show improvement in all these characters, as well as more visible progression. And being so right now in the story, Boruto and Kawaki are the only ones able to absorb ninjutsu. If Kawaki can't absorb Boruto's ninjutsu, then that basically reintroduces all jutsu, because Kawaki doesn't really fire off much ninjutsu, so therefore Boruto doesn't have much to absorb. However, I know I did this entire video, but I really don't think Boruto has a Jogan yet. If Boruto already had the Jogan, he would basically be at maximum power, and there would be a lack of potential power-ups for him, but I do think that Boruto will beat Kawaki in their upcoming fight. How I think this is going to play out is Boruto will win, he then will be reintroduced into the village and accepted by them, but I don't think the people will consider Boruto the true son of Naruto. But they won't try and kill him because he could wipe out the entire village if he wanted to. It'd be similar to Ada and Damon, where Konoha didn't want to get onto their bad sides because they could wipe out the entire village at the time. But Kawaki will grow jealous of Boruto's strength, and he will still view Momoshiki as a threat, and this will lead him to gain the Karma V3. Something which I've done a video on, and you should definitely go check it out once this video is done. The reason I think there is a Karma V3 is Amado is using Kawaki to try and revive his daughter, but he hasn't actually done that yet, so Amado is likely waiting for Kawaki to unlock his full power, and then he will use his contingency of Kawaki's shutdown to force Kawaki to revive his daughter. But yeah, I kind of discussed that in a different video, so make sure to go check that out, and make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss when I make a future video going more in depth into what I think about Kawaki's Karma V3. But yeah, if Kawaki gains a Karma V3, then he'll become stronger than Boruto, and Boruto Boruto will need to surpass Kawaki, and that is where the Jogan could be introduced, so then Boruto can actually have a power up. But all of this is definitely a discussion for another video. Maybe I can do Kawaki with the Karma V3 versus Boruto with the Jogan. But also comment down below any of your thoughts on the Jogan's true abilities and any theories you have on what the hidden techniques of it actually will be. And if I see a lot I think that are viable, then I'll definitely make a part 2 of this video. On top of that, if you have enjoyed the video, and being so you've made it this far, if you could smash the like button, then that would be muchly appreciated. It'll mean that this video gets pushed out to more people, and it's just supporting my channel, and motivates me to put out more of this content, because I know you guys are enjoying it. But yeah, make sure to subscribe. As I said, we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of September. But with that all said, I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.